G'day, today down the shed, changing out lower control arms on the Mazda CX7. The tools I'm using, couple of pry bars, breaker bar, podgy bar, 14mm spanner, 14mm ratchet spanner, which will make it a lot easier, 5mm Allen key, small cold chisel, hammer, 14mm socket, 17mm socket, short extension, ratchet, and if you've got a rattle gun, that just helps you out. What I'm going to start off by doing is undoing the sway bar link off of the control arm and then undoing the lower ball joint retaining bolt. So to undo the sway bar link, 14mm spanner on the nut, a 5mm Allen key just inside the ball joint, and undo. Undoing the ball joint retaining bolt, 14mm spanner, 14mm socket, just crack that off. What I've done, I've rotated the hub assembly just out so you can access the ball joint section, and we can put a chisel in here just to separate it a little bit, and hopefully this ball joint will pop out. By placing the chisel just in that cutaway, giving it a couple of half decent taps. Probably needs a bit more, but hopefully you get the idea. You get your pry bar and see if it will move. And there we have it. It's coming apart. So as long as you got it to move freely, we can go from there. Moving on to the rear mount. There's only 2 bolts that hold that in place. 17mm you'll need for those. Now with a breaker bar and a socket, just crack them off. Once that rear mount is undone, bolts are out. Moving on to the forward mount. The bolt is just in there. With the 17mm socket, short extension breaker bar, cracking that off. Once you've cracked it off, change over to a ratchet and remove the bolt. Now with a little bit of a wriggle, there's your arm, she's out. As you can see, that's your bush, front bush, slides in, then this one wraps around and clamps onto the body of the car. So with the areas, give them a bit of a wipe over with a rag, grab your new arm. Hopefully, it kind of slides into place for you. With the other 2 mounts roughly in position, just line up your ball joint, slide it into position, and hopefully it plays the game for you. So I've just positioned the pry bar underneath the lower control arm and then to the body, and just wriggled it into position and given it a tap with the hammer to push it in, which has then helped me locate that lower ball joint. It's literally just popped straight in. Now it's just a bit of fiddling around to get the bolts in. Use your podgy bar to line everything up. Rear mount was tricky to get started. So this is the podgy bar up through one of the bolt holes all the way through. I got the first bolt in and started, but I found by placing the jack just underneath the ball joint and bringing it up just to take a bit of load off, I was able to position it and go from there. Both bolts have been dummy fitted in this rear mount. I've tightened up the front one, removed the rear, put some Loctite on it. Now I'll tighten it up and do the same with the front one. With the front mount, I just pushed the podgy bar through the hole and just kept wriggling that control arm till it lined up. And then I was happy with that. Pull that back out. Apply some Loctite to your bolt. And then now wriggle the arm and get the bolt in place. Don't tighten that one up till the end, because you want that bush that's in here to be in a neutral position before you tighten it. What I mean by preload is, if you picture that's the arm right now because it's off the ground, if you tighten up that bush where it is there, you've already put preload on that bush as you lower the car down. So once we've lowered the car down into a neutral position, now you tighten that up, that's where it's going to live, hopefully for the rest of its life. Moving on to the sway bar link. Reconnecting that. Putting the retaining bolt in for your ball joint. Tighten them up. Wheels back on the car. Lower the car down. Double check wheel nuts. And then roll the car back and forth a few times to make sure the suspension in the front end is settled down. With the vehicle back on the ground, now you can see what I was talking about, arms in a neutral position. You can tighten up the main front bolt on each side. What I've done, I've just put it on some blocks of wood so I can get under the car. Well, thanks for watching. I've just done the left hand side as well. There's nothing different to share with you guys. Hopefully this video helps you out or gives you some idea of changing out your control arms. If there's any other tips we can give others, throw it in the comments. I'll put the part numbers for the control arms in the description. Otherwise, yeah, take it easy.